Are you living your life in Gmail, wasting hours just sifting through clutter? Well, let's get one thing straight. Email is not your job, and you have way more valuable things to do with your time than to just read and send emails all day. Imagine a world with less clutter, more focus, and ultimate productivity. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crush your old email habits and spend your time on stuff that actually moves the needle in your business. No more distraction, no more inbox paralysis, just progress. Let's get started. I'm Joey Vitale. Welcome back to the channel where I help you escape the grind, hire all-star VAs, and cut your work week in half. The first thing I want to talk about is changing the way that you communicate with your team. If you're like most business owners, you're communicating with your team mostly through email, and that is just super ineffective. I don't have to tell you that there can be so many instances where you're sending emails and you're like, oh wait, did they get that or not? There's missed deadlines, there can be miscommunication, and it's like, oh, did we remember to add or CC that teammate? Did someone hit reply but not reply all, and certain people are kept out of the loop? It can just be super ineffective when it comes to team communications. So we recommend something different. To address all these issues, we recommend something called a non-email team communication hub. And there are different options out there, but my team uses and loves Slack. It's free to get started. Their paid plan is super affordable. What's great about Slack is it allows you to take away emails and voice memos and texts and all these other ways that you might be communicating with your team. And it allows everything to stay in one easy place that's simple to remember. You can download it onto your phone, your computer, and it's a great reference for later. The way it works is you can set up different channels, which is awesome because if you have certain team members that, for instance, only help you with marketing, social media, or client work, or bookkeeping, or whatever, you can only, if you want to, add that teammate to certain channels. I don't want you to lose sight of this. This is brilliant because now you're creating channels, little pockets of how you can communicate with your team in a way that's more role-based than people-based. So now when people say, oh, I need to communicate something around the business that's focused on this topic, they can click on the channel related to that topic without having to think about all the different people that need to be included. So that way you can just go into that one channel, type whatever people need to hear about it, and great. It just makes it so much easier. People can reply to that thread, and months or years later, if there's a question about stuff, they can just search Slack and it shows in that proper channel. That being said, this system of using Slack so well only works if the whole team buys in that this is going to be their centralized communication hub. That's why we call it that. So we don't try to be jerks, but that's why we enforce this rule. If you're on our team, don't communicate to each other through email, through text, through Voxer, through whatever, because if you do, then the rest of the team can't see that. Slack ensures that what is communicated from one teammate to another is done in more of a group environment. Not everybody needs to see it, and that's why these channels are so helpful, but it really ensures that stuff doesn't get lost, miscommunicated, buried in clutter, etc. Now, I promise you, if you shift your team communication to something like Slack, it will be a night and day difference in your inbox. But man, it can continue to get better from there. Another big pool of where your emails might be coming and things that you're writing is client or customer facing. So what we recommend for that is creating a different email specifically for your clients and customers, which could be clients at or supports at instead of your email, or just setting up a client or customer portal where you communicate with your customers and paying clients through that portal. This can be a game changer because that communication is still happening, but it's no longer depending on you and your inbox, and other teammates can get more involved, help you at a higher and higher level in reviewing and responding to what's going on in that separate email in those client portals. Remember, creating these new systems and boundaries isn't about making things more complicated, it's about making things easier. And so the more that you respect these and put them in place and make sure that clients really are only communicating with you and your team through that email or that portal, the better. And in the long run, your clients and customers are going to enjoy it as well, because if they forget a certain message that you sent them, it's much easier, especially with the client portal, for them to just log in, scroll up or down, and see the whole thread. Plus, for privacy and security purposes, a client portal is pretty awesome as well. Okay, so we've already decluttered a ton just by finding other ways to centralize communication with your team and with your clients and customers. But there's one other big bucket category of emails that we could probably declutter rather quickly. And that requires you to throw yourself what I call an unsubscribe party. Chances are, if you're like most people, especially business owners, there are a lot of things that you've opted into, newsletters you subscribe to, a lot of stuff that maybe when you did first opt into it, you really did want whatever emails you were signing up for, and now there's just less of an interest there. Well, it's time to put something on your calendar, maybe grab a drink, throw yourself a party, and for an hour or so, go through your inbox, and instead of just deleting or archiving what you don't want to look at, take that extra step to unsubscribe from things that you no longer want to opt into. I know this isn't the most fun thing to do in the world. That's why I try and make it more fun for myself and say, I'm going to be throwing a party here. I'm going to be blasting music, maybe drinking something. But this is a really great use of your time right now. Maybe do it once every 6 months or so. And man, in between that time, you're really going to appreciate at least cutting your inbox in half, because all of those newsletters and other things aren't going to be there anymore. Now, there might be certain newsletters or subscriptions that you do want to hold on to. A really good tip, especially if you're using Gmail, is to create labels and forwarding rules so that you can say, okay, if a certain email comes with this type of email address, then let's add a filter to it, let's add a label to it, that it's a newsletter, and then archive it from the inbox. But it's still going to stay in that list with all of those other emails with that label of newsletter or whatever. So for anything that you still want to subscribe to, but you want to make it more on your terms in terms of when you look at it, then that can be a great strategy. So either unsubscribing outright or saying, I'm going to create some type of a label and forwarding rule set up so that when I get those types of things, I'll go into that label whenever I want to look at it instead of it cluttering up my inbox. Now, if you want more of a step-by-step in terms of how to do what we've been talking about, then I want to make sure that you know about our Master Your Inbox mini course. You can click the link below to access that mini course, and this is going to be a game changer for you so that you can finally declutter everything in your inbox and really tackle this monster and have actionable steps to achieve inbox zero. Okay, we can't wrap up this video until we talk about VAs. Because if you're not having VAs help you to some degree in your business, you're really missing out. VAs these days can do pretty much anything, but I get asked a lot, hey, if I brought on a new VA, what can I have them do to start? And having them manage your email is a really great first thing that you can delegate to a VA. And speaking of VAs, I'll leave you with this. This is one of my secret strategies. When you hire a new VA, hire 2 at once. Yes, there's a chance that one might not work out well, but that's not why I'm giving you this strategy. You see, what we do whenever we bring on a new administrative VA is we hire 2 at once, because what we want to do is we want to get to a place where we're creating coverage so that if one VA goes out of office, gets sick, goes on vacation, whatever the case is, we want them to be able to take that time off without feeling like the business is going to suffer from it. And so the more that we can cross-train our administrative VAs on certain tasks, the better. And so as great as it is to have one VA that's helping you manage your emails, it is so much better to have at least 2 VAs on your team who understand the processes and SOPs around managing your inbox, so that if one goes out of office, the other can cover for that person instead of you having to go back into the weeds. I'll go deeper on this topic and include resources so that you can escape the grind, hire all-star VAs, and cut your work week in half. Now, if you want to continue learning about CEO mistakes, then click the video on the screen now.